but I do promise you these: weariness, hardship, and sacrifice. And with these, I promise you victory. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Ryan. Today we also have Jason Altmire, a congressman from Pennsylvania. Altmire is serving his second term in the U.S. House of Representatives, acting on behalf of citizens in all or parts of 6 counties in western Pennsylvania, including the greater Pittsburgh area. Despite his brief tenure, Representative Altmire has established himself as one of the leading voices in Congress on veteran, health care, and small business issues. He has been named a subcommittee chairman on the Small Business Committee and has authored 24 different legislative initiatives that have already been passed in the House, 16 of which have been signed already into law. Representative Altmire was named the Biotechnology Industry Organization's Legislator of the Year due to his legislation to help small business obtain vital startup funding and other support of small biotech companies in western Pennsylvania. He has also been profiled in a number of national media outlets and has been a guest on a variety of national television news programs, and even, I found out, Comedy Central's The Colbert Report. So that didn't impress you. Please welcome Representative Jason Altmire of the City Club.
Well, this is a treat for me because I have never been to Cleveland before. So thank you for inviting me. Didn't get to see much of it yet, but we'll travel around on the way out. And it's really an honor to be here because so many of you on a very, very cold day took the time out of your schedules to be here and join us, and I appreciate that. And I drove up from Pittsburgh. It was a little bit warmer in Pittsburgh, I'll say. I think we were at -2 when I left from there. But this is, as was talked about earlier, this is a very historic club, and it's an honor for me to be here. A lot of history has been made here. And we're heading into the next few days here when a lot of history is going to be made in this country. And all eyes, as you know, are going to be focused on the AFC Championship game this Sunday. I had to get that in, I'm sorry. But Tim and I have coordinated our remarks so that we don't repeat the same thing, and I read his speech before he gave it. I must have skipped the Apollo 13 part. I don't remember that being in the written part. But you can see why Tim is such a great leader for his district and why we work so well together, because we're both passionate about these issues, and we both are young, and we both have, I think, a pretty forward-looking view of this whole thing and a long-term view of how to put this together. And you've now heard the broad outlines of what the Tech Belt is. The goal, of course, is to get to the point where anywhere in this country, when you hear someone say the Silicon Valley, you know where that is. And you hear someone say the Research Triangle, you know where that is. We want to get to the point where no matter where you are in this country, someone says the Tech Belt, you know where that is. And that's what we're talking about. And you are a key to making that happen. But I want to talk about the steps, the tangible results that we've got to this effort in only a couple of years that we've put this together, just to give you an idea of the support that we already have in Ohio and Pennsylvania, and give you some concrete examples of organizations in Cleveland and Pittsburgh that are successfully collaborating. And in 2007, the Pittsburgh Life Sciences Greenhouse and Bioenterprise in Cleveland, as Congressman Ryan talked about, joined forces to leverage existing resources of both regions to attract greater levels of bioscience funding for our region. And we're going to talk about what happened there. They now meet quarterly. They get together and they exchange information on new biotech startups and opportunities that exist throughout the entire region with world-renowned medical, educational, economic development, and industrial institutions. The Life Sciences Greenhouse and Bioenterprise conduct joint meetings with venture capitalists to attract venture capital back to our region. And they're not parochial about it. If someone from Pittsburgh knows a venture capitalist and can point them to somewhere in Cleveland where maybe it's a better fit, they do that. That's the kind of relationship that they have. and they've introduced countless companies to one another along the two borders of our states. This has resulted in more than 20 collaborations thus far. And just as an example, MedRespond, which is an online healthcare company in the Pittsburgh area, is now crossing into Ohio to work with Treatment Online, Within 3, ProEd Communications, and another Pittsburgh company called Blacktown NC is developing a spinal rehabilitation table and working with the Cleveland Clinic. And that's what's great about this partnership is we're taking advantage of the assets that we both have. Instead of competing against each other, we're working together and competing with each other against the rest of the country and the rest of the world. Because we're not competing just with Boston or Austin or Seattle or San Francisco. We're competing with Shanghai and Brazil and the European Union. And by pulling together and harnessing everything that this region has to offer and working together, that's leading to victory. So from wound management to clinical trials to polymers, more and more collaborations are emerging in the Tech Belt. And these collaborations yield faster company growth, more innovation, greater venture capital interest, and ultimately more jobs, which is a win-win scenario for both Pittsburgh and Cleveland and everywhere in between. And another example, some of whom are in this room right now, of collaboration is Jumpstart Cleveland and Innovation Works in Pittsburgh. And these are two, as many of you know, nonprofit organizations that help entrepreneurs translate good ideas into successful businesses. They invest in new companies, help companies attract additional funding, and provide business expertise. For years, Jumpstart and Innovation Works have shared their databases of investors to enlarge the investment pool of portfolios that companies can access. They've shared their expert content. And when Jumpstart recently sought a contract for one of their companies developing an infant breathing device, Innovation Works connected the Cleveland area company with several executives in the Pittsburgh region who could provide valuable industry expertise. That's exactly the kind of collaboration we want to have. And these different collaborations have helped our region, the Tech Belt that we're talking about, achieve a soaring rate of growth in venture capital interest and investment. So, for example, in 2005, 10 companies in western Pennsylvania attracted $58 million in healthcare venture investment. But in 2008, those numbers went to 33 companies and $151 million in venture investment. And during that same time, right here in Cleveland, the increase was from 23 companies and $88 million to 31 companies and $164 million in investment in just 2.5 years of working together. Ohio and Pennsylvania are now among the leading Midwest states in attracting new healthcare investments, but it doesn't stop there. There are over 80 national venture funds investing in these biomedical companies, but we have 30 of them that have located their offices right here in our region. Cleveland and Pittsburgh are now ranked second and third national in healthcare investment. And while we're still behind Minnesota in the Midwest region, we're catching up. It's $331 million for Minnesota, $315 million for our region. So we're making gains. And this investment, as you all know, is vital to our economic growth, our jobs, the brain gain that Congressman Ryan talked about, and a higher standard of living for all of us. In fact, new jobs requiring science, engineering, and technical training is expected to grow by more than quadruple the national average over the next few years of job growth. In the biosciences alone, there are over 800 companies employing more than 25,000 people in our regions. A total of 7 million people live and work in the Tech Belt region, and we can tap into this opportunity. This is a great opportunity that we have. And Congressman Ryan and I want to do everything we can in Congress to promote the Tech Belt and tap the fertile environment for high-tech innovation. Just as an example of something that I'm doing, and the reason we're good partners on this is Tim serves on the Appropriations Committee, I serve on the Transportation, Small Business, and the Labor Committee, and we're trying to tap all the sources we can to change federal policy at the national level in a way that will help our regions capitalize on the expertise that's already here.